He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also with him graciously give us all things? Sometimes you just need to stop and smell the roses. We as a church have begun an intentional focus on memorizing scripture in 2022. And we have started with this amazing passage in Romans 8:31 through 39. Like one verse at a time, sometimes it's going to be two. Now, in light of this, for the next several weeks, our devotions are going to focus upon the memory verse for that week. And therefore, we're only going to have a Monday devotion before we go back to the Monday through Friday. Now, before talking about this amazing passage, why should we memorize it? Now, think about memorizing scripture in the same way you would someone who drinks tea. When I take the tea bag out of the wrapper, I can put it in the hot water and take it right back out. In that case, I will only get a hint of the flavor available. Or I can let the tea bag steep in the water until it becomes saturated with flavor. Now, which of those options would you prefer your spiritual life to represent? We want to be people who steep in the word, not merely dip our toe in the word. And to help us commit Romans 8:32 to memory, consider a few words in this verse. God did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all. God has spared no cost to make us his own. Now, at times, it can be easy to forget God's generous nature. We can tend to view God's nature through the lens of our immediate circumstances rather than through the lens of Scripture. And when you think of the word own, right, God's own son, we realize how precious his son was and thus the price he was willing to make in order to win us to himself. Think about the word gave. We often need to be talked into not being selfish. Right? Someone might even have to make us feel a bit guilty in order to give up something important. Yet God gave. His arm wasn't twisted. His love compelled him to give. He will graciously give us all things. What an astounding promise. What exactly are the all things? Well, consider the verses that precede this one. Romans 8:28, right? God promises to work all things for good to those who love him and are called according to his purpose. Then into 29, those whom he foreknew, he predestined to be conformed to the image of his son. So God will withhold no good thing that is necessary to transform us to reflect Christ. He will withhold no good thing in order to see that we reach his end goal for us, which is glorification, right? Permanently with him in a state of sinless perfection. Now, the pathway to glorification comes through suffering often. Yet, no suffering has the power to thwart the good things God promises to give. So I want to encourage you to join us as a church by committing a verse a week to memory, starting this week with Romans 8:32. And as you do, your life will begin to reflect that tea bag that has been steeped in water and full of flavor.